Good morning, Dan.
Morning.
You have a nice night?
Yeah, it was alright.
Where are we?
Castle Donington.
That's right. The hotel? Is that a nice hotel?
Yeah, it's good.
RAC 2-star. It was a good meal we had last night in that restaurant.
Yeah.
What did you have to eat?
Fried scampi with a grapefruit to start, and then for my second course I had fried scampi, potatoes,
Afterwards?
peas,
What did you have for afters?
cheesecake.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All the way down the river. Be followed by the mountains, but that has a slight problem with the measures there. If you put it map the electrical test there, then that will take off.
Is that luggage over there? Usually grotesquely full suitcase. Yeah, just loading it on the other side there. Yeah, I know. Watch test.
Oh, nice. I think that's a steam jet.
That's almost terribly embarrassing.
Right, so where are we then? We're now
At the entrance to the hotel.
this is the common access road for all of the Brewster forestry development. There's some standing trees there.
That's the purposes. Species we're planting here on the new estate.
And how old is that, do you think?
It'll be about 25 to 30 years old.
So where are we exactly?
We're not actually onto the section of the map, but we're looking across at the ridge, and the road line here, this fork in the road, is easy to see now as we look straight ahead. That fork there, you can see quite clearly. In fact, there's a vehicle moving on the road just coming up to the fork.
Oh yes, I'll just focus on that one.
So that fork is roughly in the centre of Thormaid,
Right.
and we're only able to see a fairly limited percentage of the area. The bit we're picking up is the face that's directed towards us.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we can't see anything that's actually on the top or falling away on the other side.
Yeah.
And the perspective foreshortens the area on the flat before the ridge.
Yeah. And what's, you know, how do you properly pronounce the name of that ridge? I mean, we've seen it on, seen it on the map, but...
The ridge. It doesn't actually have a name, the ridge itself. Each hill
Yes.
does have a name, and the one immediately above the fork is Knochna Clash Bryce.
Knochna Clash Bryce. Right, well that's a great relief anyway. Yeah. And what does that mean? Do you know what that means? It's
No idea. Hill of Knochna's Hill of, and there you have me. I'm not a. This is Gaelic, you see.
Yeah,
and I'm not a
absolutely.
Gael. I don't know my Gaelic at all.
well, we'll get a translation on those sometime from somebody.
Yes, I can easily
Professor
find out what it actually is, and to give you some idea of how far you go across, the you can see that yellow Bowser.
Yep.
So, your land starts just on the other side of that.
Right.
You know, a matter of yards,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a flat area in line with us now. In fact, you can you pick out those red flags? There's a line of red markers, the odd red marker running away almost in line with us. That's this boundary here.
Right. Can't quite see those. I can see a little green marker there,
You see a green marker.
which is just to the left of this roadway.
Oh no, much further away. You see the yellow Bowser?
Yep.
And if you go to the south of that,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see some
Yeah.
orange markers blowing in the wind.
Yes, I can see them actually. With
Those mark this part of the boundary, and so your land then goes across to where you see the ploughing starting on the bottom of the ridge, where the ridge flattens out. Runs up the side of that ploughing, which is a darker area,
Yeah.
and then the sandy area,
Mm-hmm.
and then up to the road, and above the road, the area which is ploughed, which shows up almost black, is the area I've coloured green on the map. That's the piece that's actually planted.
Right.
So from there, you go across the ridge, past the fork,
Yep.
and past the next hill
Mm-hmm.
to round about where it drops out of sight from this particular point.
Right. So on that map, we're just south of that, and we're looking up
Well,
towards the
what
ridge.
we're looking at, you see that the Bowser I mentioned is
Yeah.
actually in that lay-by there.
Right.
So we're just on this side, but the lochs haven't come into view yet. But a matter of 30 yards past where the Bowser is parked, we come onto your property.
Right. And I mean, what do you sort of finish the road off with? You've got this aggregate which you've dug out of the.
This we don't put any more capping on it than this.
No. Right.
We might need to, when it comes to harvesting, put another layer of gravel on the top. But we certainly don't intend to do any more for the next 20 or 30 years.
No. I mean, it's sufficient for the kind of vehicles you use.
That's right. And when it's levelled off, you'll be able to drive up here quite quickly in a normal car.
Right. Meanwhile, it's quite a test on your car coming up here.
Well, it's actually quite good condition at the moment compared to what it was like earlier on.
I remember the caveat, only one owner, a forester, in the north of Scotland. Okay, well we're going to carry on now, are we?
Right. Serach, Loch Serach. And as you can see, it's quite choppy today with the wind blowing. And it will be a very shallow loch. You can see that from the lie of the land. The topography is very flat. I doubt if it's more than 6 foot deep.
And it's sort of just about connected to the other one, isn't it, by a
There's
stream?
a very small stream that connects the two.
And just in the far distance, there's a small hill on the right-hand
Yes,
side.
that's at the very northern end of the whole Broopster complex.
Right.
So that helps put that into perspective.
And just panning round, we can see those yellow flags a bit better there.
Yes, I think they're a mixture of yellow and red
Orange,
markers.
yeah.
And that marks your march. So it goes more or less from here, in fact, more or less straight up the hill. As we drive ahead now, we come on to your property.
Right.
Once the forestry development gets on a bit further, these divisions will be marked by wide rides.
Right.
So there'll be a gap in the forest here. But for the meantime, there's just the surveying pegs in the ground where the boundaries are artificial lines rather than burns or some other natural feature.
Right. So that's the boggy area that's...
Yes, that will always be too wet to plant. It's a series of open pools. They're called Dulochen systems. And your boundary comes across from those pools and joins up with the edge of this ploughing here. That shows the boundary quite clearly. So from over in the car across to the ploughing is all your land, everything behind us, of course.
And how many acres do we lose for that?
Let's see. Be about 5 hectares, which is about 12 acres.
Well, that's not too bad, is it?
It'll be quite attractive actually when the trees are planted round it. Takes the openness away from the landscape.
And that's Loch Thormaid over the back there.
The one closest to us is Thormaid, and the longer one, which is slightly further away from this direction, is Sarah. The ploughing that you see below the road is just off your property,
Right.
but the piece above the road, which doesn't show very clearly from this angle, is the bit that we ploughed and planted this spring.
Right. Well, that's the bit right up the top of the hill over the far
It's the
side.
bit that's running up.
By the road?
No,
No.
closer to us than that.
Right.
That's it here.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Just what they do is just penning a few sheep, weren't
Penning
they?
sheep.
Oh,
And when it was used, the shepherd would come out with the sheep through the summer and live up here for a couple of months.
Yes. They would live in Brewster with the others, would he?
Yes, it's a bit closer than shillings normally are. That's what it is, part of a shilling. That's the Highland name for these little dwellings. Where there used to be almost a summer migration from the lower ground to the more remote areas, and they used to take up the flock of sheep and the cattle and stay with them for the summer, and then move off again when the harder winter weather came.
Okay, onwards.
We're very close to the southern edge of your block, so we've come right down to the southern edge.
Right.
And this is a piece that we've planted as the 85 programme. And although you can see the ploughing quite clearly, we'll have to get closer before you can actually pick out the trees, because the trees are quite small. And all the water you see pouring off the site just illustrates how much rain we've had recently.
But it's not been a problem, the rain, has it?
No, it's good for the trees.
That little green marker over there is what?
Oh, it could be anything. It's probably marking where the trees were set out for the planters.
Yes.
So we put out little groups of trees, 2,000 or 3,000 at a time, and to minimise the distance that the planters have to walk with a load of trees in a bag.
Sound of trickling water. Gonna have to go out into that wind now, I think. You say it's a bit windy for this time of year.
Yes. Oh yes, we don't normally have We get winds through the summer, but it's not. This isn't good weather for July by any means.
You can see these clouds coming up over that ridge.
Mhm.
Right. Okay then.
And that's your boundary to the south.
Right.
And that burn then runs downhill, and we can't see much because of this bank of spoil from the roadwork, but as we look further down you see the ploughing, which in fact is on your neighbour's ground.
Yes.
So that marks the rest of the boundary down to the yellow flag.
Right.
And then from there the boundary takes a bit of a bend across to the south end of the pool system.
Right.
And then past that and across to where you see that line of spoil.
Right.
By Loch Sarah. Yeah. And back up the edge of both lochs. And then it follows Loch Thormaid, which is the nearest one to us.
Yeah.
And then down to the northern end of the loch, which we can't see from the ground. So everything else you can see from now in the region from the ground to the north. That's all Loch Thormaid.
That hill straight ahead of us there.
North of Clash Price.
Right.
You go on past the next one.
Right. Well, it's quite big, isn't it?
This is the young lodgepole pine, and these funny shaped green candles are this year's growth, so that all these shoots have grown since it was planted this spring.
Right.
And you can see, so when we've been here a month ago, then there would be very little to see. The tree would have been quite small. When it was planted it was only about 6 inches, with about half of that being planted into the ground.
Yeah.
Now that it's grown to that extent, it's doing very well, and it won't look back now.
You reckon it's taken now?
Oh, definitely. Yes, in fact, it's done quite well for its first year. To put on any substantial growth is very good.
Is that another lodgepole pine just over the other side of there?
That's actually Sitka spruce. That one is one of the spruce.
Right.
And this is the lodgepole here. They're planted in groups of 3. So we have 3 lodgepole pines, another one there, and then Sitka spruce, which is showing up as a paler green at this time of year.
Yeah.
There's a row of trees planted each side of the plough furrow.
Yeah.
And as you can see, each plough furrow forms quite a big drainage ditch. And one of the main functions of the ploughing is to get the water away and allow air into the soils
Right.
to allow the nutrients to mineralise and something for the trees to get going with.
So about how many rows have we got, would you say?
How many rows? Well, it's about 30 of that. In this block, about 200 metres along the road, then about 300 metres running away from the road, and it's ploughed down onto the road. And there are about 40 rows, 40 furrows that is, per 100 metres. So it'll be about 80 furrows, which will give you twice as many rows of trees, about 160 rows of trees in this block.
So far, I mean, the weather's been quite kind to us, really, because it's
Yes, the rain.
nice, moist situation, isn't it?
We're going to hope for a better day for you actually to visit on, but this is ideal for the trees. It's cool, there's lots of water about, and the thing that does most damage to the young trees in the plant.
Right. What's the loch called?
The loch is almost unpronounceable. It's approximately Loch
main gate and the road system up.
Yes, which comes in at that block of trees.
That block of trees.
Further block of trees, we came round the edge of that.
That's right, because that was the Sitka spruce, wasn't it?
That's it.
We're keeping an eye on. And we came right round the a loch there, and that southern loch is called.
The furthest away one is
Yeah.
Sarah.
Our property comes round along this road here.
Well, it's actually the other side of the road. The road's running right through.
Right, it's right.
It actually just skirts the lock edge.
Just skirts the loch edge.
And then round where the loch is going out of view. Just out of sight where the land falls.
Yeah.
And up down the side of the PCC cloud. Down there, up below.
The background we've got good around
That's the actual reactor, the first reactor in the UK. That's pretty submarine engine. It's almost gone out of sight, it's got a bit cloudy.
Yeah.
Straight through the block of Sitka spruce,
Yes.
right up to the horizon, you can just pick it out.
Yes.
It's a bit vague,
Oh, that's it. Yes.
and that's done it head.
Yes.
Most northerly point on the mainland.
Right. When we come back, the boundary just disappears out
Comes back into view there where you see the stones lying on that hill,
Yes.
and then runs through just this side, I think, of that high point where
Yes.
the fertiliser bags are stacked.
Right.
Runs through down to the bottom. More or less the straight line.
So that is the neighbouring property.
But this time on the near side of the flag, running down the edge. More or less continuing a straight line from there, round the edge of that pool system,
Yeah.
back to the yellow Bowser.
Right. The yellow bells are over there. Very good. Excellent.
Get a very good view of the pool system from here. It's a network of small ponds,
Yes.
and they're connected by little ribbons of peat. Really
Yeah.
quite interesting, actually. And the whole thing is very watery,
Yeah.
so if you walk through it, bounce
Yes.
up and down, the whole thing springs
Yes.
and sways.
So it's quite a level of peat there actually. Yeah. Right. I don't think there's much else to see up here now.
We just
See over. Where is the foundry there?
over that hill.
Yes.
It's still out of sight now, but we can see the land that runs down into the bottom on the other side of the watershed.
Yes.
The Athabastal Burrow,
Yeah.
and you can pick out the fence. That's the tail fence. You come down onto the flat, which in fact has been drained for sheep in the past. You can see some regular lines running across it.
Yeah.
That's your ground as well, running down, in fact, over the fence. The burn itself is a marsh.
Yeah.
We've obviously taken the most cost-effective fencing line.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of it that's actually fenced out.
These little rocky outcrops, are they? Or?
Yes, these are just all crops on block, and obviously these bits won't be planted. Some of them will on that hill there. That's unplanted. All planted without it. And are ready. Yes.
But over
rock outcropping there. There's a little gully that runs through here.
Yeah. But those stones are the boundary of the next